Akhandamandalakaram vyaptam yena characharam tatpadam darsitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Ajnanatimirandasya jnananjanam shalakaya chakshuramitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma tasmai Sri. So I was told that I should speak and then we will have an interaction. The thing is, yoga, in inverted commas, has a much vaster implication than just postures. Because yoga is a very, very wide subject. It starts with the body, goes to the mind, and then proceeds to the spirit, which is the step-by-step movement of yoga, the journey. Now, it's an ancient science which predates even the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Because there are the ancient Yajnavalkya Yoga, which is already occurring in the Upanishad. Then, after that, we have the mention of the practice of yoga in various other textbooks. Gita, for instance, every chapter of the Gita is called a yoga, starting with Arjuna Vishada Yoga. And there is also a particular chapter on Dhyana Yoga, the yoga of meditation. So from that point of view, yoga means the method or the way towards the truth, in whichever direction it takes according to the particular mindset of the person. Because some may be inclined towards complete renunciation, so there is sannyasa yoga. Some may be full of devotion, so there is bhakti yoga. Some may be actually yogic practitioners, abhyasa yoga. Then dhyana yoga is linked to it, and so on. So there are various approaches. In fact, the Bhagavad Gita at the end, every chapter proclaims itself as a yoga. The Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam. It is an Upanishad, it is the knowledge of the Supreme Brahman, not knowledge, moving towards the knowledge of the Supreme. Yoga Shastre, very important word used. Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade. So Yoga Shastre is particularly fixed there to know that this is not just theory but a practice, a method. Because down the line there are people who think that Vedanta is self-sufficient. That you need to just intellectualize and think that the world is an illusion, the Brahman is the supreme being and so on. But then it's still very theoretical. It's not. Now, to grasp this truth of what is known as Brahma Vidya, it is necessary to prepare the body and the mind. If you say everything is Brahman, everything may be Brahman, but it is meaningless to us. For us, everything is what? Consumer society. We can say that, but we are not there. So yoga is a practical step-by-step way, whichever be your tendency, bhakti or abhyasa or sannyasa, to move towards that goal which is Brahma Vidya. Not merely Brahma Vidya, but Anubhava, actual experience of the Supreme. Now, the text which is usually followed, a very important text, I must mention this, that a few hundred years ago, a great yogi brought about this beautiful merger of Vedanta and yoga. Since he was a master of both and a great Vedantin and a Sanskrit scholar himself, no one can dispute the conclusions. He did that because there was a time when Vedanta was going in separate way and yoga was going separate. Vedanta said, what is this fellow sitting and breathing, what is the use? And the yogi said, intellectual study is not enough. So this great being was also famous for his beautiful kritis, which are sung even today. The great Sadashiva Brahmendra. Sadashiva Brahmendra was the one who brought this both together. And he wrote this beautiful text called the Yoga Sudhakara. I think all people who study yoga should read the Yoga Sudhakara. It's a beautiful exposition of yoga. And how Vedanta and yoga are not two different things, but merged together in a beautiful way. Now, not only that, the Yoga Sudhakara also contains another distinction which all yogis should, practitioners of yoga should know. Very clearly, Sadashiva Brahmendra distinguishes between Tamoguna and Sattoguna, because he figured out that there is a tendency for people with Tamoguna to think that they are in Sattoguna. You know what Sattoguna is? Purity and tranquility and peace. Now, Tamoguna, when you are not doing any work, you are lazy, sleeping the whole day, may appear to be Sattva. But it is not Sattva. If that is the case, every lazy man would be a yogi. So, in Yoga Sudhakara, there is a beautiful distinction drawn out properly with different points put to show that they are two different things. Because a yogi is not one who is trying to sleep away. The yogi is alert and tranquil, not sleeping. There is a distinction between samadhi and sushupti. Both are not the same, and you can never attain samadhi through sushupti. There is some easy way, then we could have done it, because we all love sushupti. So why? Because it is closest to samadhi. This is why everybody loves sushupti, because there you are not even aware that you exist, therefore you have no problems. In samadhi, you are aware that everything exists, but in its pure and blissful form. So there is a difference. Okay. So the most important textbook considered an authority on yoga is the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. They are also called, now actually Patanjali cannot even be historically reckoned what period he belonged to. He is represented as half snake and half man. So it cannot be in recent past, very ancient. And therefore the teachings of Patanjali, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, are also called Ashtanga Yoga Sutras, because yoga of the 8 angas. You must note this. It is an ancient science, Ashtanga Yoga. It has been there since the time of Patanjali. Patanjali codified it. It's like the Vedas, which always existed, but Vyasa codified it and made them into Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, composed. In fact, the word Vyasa means composer in Sanskrit, one who composes, puts together. So, this is yoga. Now, there have been other texts on yoga. But for this particular sampradaya, which is little bit Shaivite in its tilt, the Natha sampradaya, perhaps I think yoga might have got lost. It was the Nath Mathas and the Nath sampradaya which protected and propounded yoga and brought out several other texts on the subject, like for instance the most famous, written by Gorakhnath himself, claims to be written by Goraksha Shataka. It's a beautiful exposition of yoga, same Ashtanga yoga but in a little different form. And then there is this thing called the Shiva Samhita. It's also a Nath text. Then there is the Garanda Samhita, which again is a Nath text. Then the classic Hatha Yoga Pradipika, written by Swa Atma Rama, is a Nath text. So it was the Nath Satchakra Nirupana. These are all textbooks, technical textbooks on yoga, which were preserved by the Nathpanthis. They played a great role in keeping yoga from just becoming a physical activity and not connected to the spiritual. So, therefore, what is yoga from our point of view?